Hello. So we are going to continue on with our work in financial maths, and today we are going to be talking about compound interest. So in compound interest we're going to be using this formula here, which I know looks quite abstract at the moment, but we're going to start out by looking at where it comes from. And to do that we are going to go to page 70 and look at question 2. Now, in question 2, page 70, it says Kate borrows €2,500 from a bank at 11% compound interest per year. She pays it off in a lump sum after 2 years. How much will she have to pay in total? So, what we say is we have a present value. The present value of her debt is €2,500. The interest rate we have to pay, so it says compound interest, so the interest rate effectively in these type of questions, if they give you a percentage, it means the interest rate, which is sensibly enough the I in that formula. That's 11%. Now we don't do maths with percentages. We put that into our calculators. We have 11 out of 100 is going to be 0.11. So convert this into a decimal, or leave it as a fraction, whichever you feel more comfortable with, but usually a decimal is better for these questions. So we have read two pieces of information out of our question. We have the present value of our debt is 2,500 and the interest rate is going to be 11%, and she pays it off in a lump sum after 2 years. So our time is going to be 2 years, and our interest rate is actually per year as well, so we'd have interest rate per year, and time is 2 years. And what are we looking for? We're looking for how much she's going to have to pay in the future. So F stands for the future value of our money, and it's what we're looking for. She's put this amount of money today, she's gotten this amount of money today, and she wants to know what the value of it is going to be in 2 years' time, so what its value is going to be in the future. So F for future, P for present, I for interest rate, and T for time. So that's where all of these letters are coming from. But I'm going to try and show you where this formula comes from when we've written things out. So when you do questions like this, just like in lots of the financial maths, the real key is writing out the information that you're given, and then you're going to see where you're going to be able to make a step from there, how we're going to find F. So what can help, and particularly with an eye towards Leaving Cert, more than what we're doing here, but we are still preparing for the Leaving Cert while we're doing this. What I'm going to show you is how you can structure financial maths questions in a way that will help you all the way up to higher level Leaving Cert. So we effectively draw a bunch of dashes, a bunch of sticks, and they're going to be helping us keep track of what happens each year. So 0 is when no years, no time has passed. So what have we got here? We've got a present value of €2,500. After 1 year, we're going to have the final value after 1 year. Well, what's that going to be? That's going to be the present value plus a certain amount of interest will have been paid onto our €2,500. So the bank is giving a loan at 11% interest. So what we're going to do is find 11% of 2,500 and add it on to 2,500, and that will be the amount of money owed at the end of the first year. So that's going to be the 2,500 plus the euro interest. Well, how are we going to get the amount of interest we have to pay at the end of the first year? The euro interest is going to be the 2,500 multiplied by our percentage interest. That's how we're going to find out how much interest we have to pay in euro into our account, how much extra we're going to owe at the end of the first year. So let's do that, and in these questions we're going to mark out year 1, year 2, and so on. So we're dealing with year 1. What's our present value? It's 2,500. That's what our money is worth at the beginning of the year, so our present value. We are looking for the final value at the end of year 1. Just dealing with year 1 now. We're going to worry about year 2 in a minute. We know our interest rate, we already worked out, is 0.11. And we're only concerning ourselves with the first year, so our time is going to be 1. I've written out all of the information relevant to my first year. Now, I want to know my final value, and I know that that's going to be my 2,500 plus my interest. So what's my interest? It's going to be 2,500 multiplied by my percentage interest, which is 0.11. I get 2,500 plus 275 is equal to €2,775. That is the amount of money I owe after 1 year in the account. Now, if that's the amount of money I owe at the end of the first year, it's also the amount of money I owe at the beginning of the second year. So this is a very important point in this type of question. The amount of money in the account at the end of 1 year is the amount of money in the account at the beginning of the next year. So the final value in year 1 is the same as the starting value, the present value, going into year 2. Now we're looking for the future value in year 2. That's what we're aiming for now. And we have, that's what we're looking for. Our interest rate is still 11%. And our time, we're going from the end of the first year to the end of the second year, so it's still 1 year. So now we're going to have our final value for year 2 is going to be 2,750. What we start with at the beginning of the year, that's our present value for the beginning of the second year, plus the amount of interest we gain, which is going to be 2,775 by our 11% interest. This is the amount of interest that gets paid onto our debt. That's 2,775 plus 305.25, which gives us a final value at the end of 2 years of €3,080.25. Now we must be able to do out the questions in this fashion, where we find the interest earned and add it on. They can give you questions that effectively require you to use this method, and I'm going to show you one in a few minutes. But as there's no disruptions here, as this is just 2 years of gaining interest without any changes, what we can do instead, or this is an alternate method, when we don't have any changes from year to year, we're just earning interest, what we could do is say F is what we're looking for, P at the beginning of 2 years is 2,500, I is our 0.11, and T is going to be for 2 years with the method I'm about to show you, and it's using this formula here. So F is going to equal P, so always write out your formula. F is going to equal 2,500 on 1 plus 0.11 to the power of 2. And when we put all of this into our calculator in exactly the way that I've written it here, you will get F is equal to 3,080.25 euro. Now, why in the world is that working? Well, if I come back to my first year here, so this is my final answer, that's all I need to do. I'm now coming to a bit of an explanation as to where this formula is coming from. If I rewrite this line here from my first year, f is equal to 2,500 plus 2,500 on 0.11, I'm going to rewrite this in algebra. F is equal to P plus 2,500 is P times my interest rate, which is I. That's this line rewritten algebraically. Now I can see I have a common factor of P. Gives me P on 1 plus I, and if I like I can put a power of 1 here because I'm dealing with a 1 year. So I end up with f is equal to present value multiplied by 1 plus I to the power of 1. So you can hopefully get a bit of an instinct as to where this formula is coming from. I know it looks a little bit abstract, but hopefully this gives you a feel for where it's coming from and how it's connected to the method we're using here, the longer way of doing it. Again, you must know this way, you have to be able to do it this way, and you also have to know this version of the formula. And this formula is given to you in the financial maths part of your log tables, which is page 30. And next year you'll get more practice with using your log tables. But that is our steps now. And we're going to look at a slightly more complicated question in a minute.